Shout out to Tyler officially. She won Best Foreign Act. Is it Best Foreign Act? Best African Music Performance. Tyler, 21 years old. 22 years old. Proudly, hey, all the young guys in the room. Hey, when's her birthday? How much does she weigh? Do you know her? Baba Wam, Sifiso Madondo, I'd like to welcome you to our platform called Dope Conversations. I'm actually cheating here because, as I said to you earlier, I was thinking of sitting with you again on the panel show. I think we've sat twice.
Yeah.
I had another really dope guest there. And I was like, no, Melu Zobusisa Zubabwam. Melu Zobusisa this platform as well. So I'd like to welcome you to Dope Conversations. How have you been? How are you? Bayaphila ekhaya. Ngiyabona isisu ngathi siyavuma ukuthi hayi festive ibimnandi.
Hey, mfethu yazi lento esisi problem. But thank you for welcoming me with Dope Conversations and thank you for believing me ukuthi ngiyabusisa la ngihamba khona.
Thank you.
But there's one thing that I always aspire to. Ukuthi la ngikhona I must leave the place better than what I found.
Please do.
Yeah, so this is one thing that I drive, and this is one thing that I ask for, wisdom, everything. Which nje la ngikhona mangihamba, I must not be a drain. I must always be, deposit. I believe in deposits than withdrawals.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, Siyabonga. We said on camera we're going to start off with Ramaphosa and the DA and your views. Because we were speaking about Untate, Herman Mashaba, who I had on the panel show. Mm-hmm. And we were speaking about the DA. And one of the questions I've asked him, one of the questions I asked Musi Maimani of Bosa, one of the questions I asked Bongani Baloy of Shiluba was, is the DA racist? Yeah. And none of them have been able to say no. In their own diplomatic ways, Bonke Bayabega. And Ubabu Herman Mashaba spoke about how the DA seemed to not necessarily care about some of the black areas, like Alex. And he was trying to explain, I'm a mayor of Johannesburg, not the mayor of Sandton. And they started calling him an EFF mayor. And when you said, when the DA found Ramaphosa, when the DA found Ramaphosa, they realized Utabasa what?
Look, my own analysis, these are my own analysis as a layman on the street.
Sure.
I looked at this thing and I said, no, man, number one, DA is very racist. It had a project. That's why they called Umusi a failed project.
Failed project, yeah. Failed experiment.
Failed experiment.
Yeah.
And they were honest. That was one of the most honest statements they could have made. But that was an experiment that they wanted to come and get the black vote.
Sure.
So that they can use the black vote to dislodge the ANC. Now they could see, the black vote thing, we are getting there, but we are not getting the numbers that we want. They were actually disappointed. You could even hear on their speech, they could not understand how black people still voted the ANC into power after all the halabaloos and all the media things that they've run against the ANC, but people still voted. So they then decided to say, you know what, if you can't beat them on the fair game, we've got to go inside and get our men.
Got to get inside what? The ANC?
Got to get inside the ANC. And they did. Haven't you noticed that the DA and the ANC, they almost sing on the same script? Lately, they are not opposing
anything.
They are not. Have you seen them opposing? You know how opposing they were during Uchezi?
Sure.
You could see with the DA. I mean, they would oppose. Now they are not. Now they are almost the ice boys to the current sitting president. But it makes sense if you look everything in the background. What's happening, who's funding them, what agendas are they running. I mean, this is their man.
So Ramaphosa has become the DA face is what you're saying?
Ramaphosa is becoming the real leaders of the country's face.
Who are the real leaders of the country?
Baba, the real leaders of the country. Moskuti, one of the things that we can go back and look at history. First, it is not us. We were not there when they were writing the Constitution.
Sure.
Sure. Noma Sasi defend has been honest. None of our leaders were there. No one was representative sent by us was there when they were writing that thing. They wrote it themselves. And they wrote it in their own premises. It's known, it's there in history. In the Oppenheimer premises, they wrote that thing for us, for them. And if you look at it, really, it does not serve us. You look at that constitution, the best constitution in the world. But it does not serve the people who are really supposed to be served by this constitution.
Sure.
And that's why it's always defended by these NGOs, the NGOs that has never spoken about abantwana bawele toilet. They've never spoken about load shedding. You know, they've spoken about don't touch the judiciary.
Yes.
Don't touch so and so. And I think this was a long-term project of the DA and those who are funding them to say, okay, now we've got the man. Sure. Now you must back off. The instruction was given, back off, and they removed Musi, they removed Abu Mashaba. They didn't need them anymore because they've got their guy now.
As I don't know if it was Musi Maimane, but someone said to me, I don't know if it was on a platform or not, so I don't want to go too deep in the conversation because maybe it was off the record, that Helen Zille was told by funders of the DA and some of the core members that had been there, Uti, we're not really happy with how things are looking. To a point where it was almost like they're saying, we don't mind being a smaller party, as long as our ideology is still the same. Because they lost certain members to the Freedom Front Plus. And they were like, we need to get those members back. And you're like, yeah, but look at how many new members we've gained. It's like, we're willing to lose those new members to get these guys back.
And who are the new members? The blacks. It was us, SOE. You know, it was their members who were singing and marching. When was the last time you saw DA marching with lots of black people?
Who did you vote for in 2019? If you don't mind?
I voted for the EFF.
Both national
and provincial.
Are you happy with your vote to date?
Yes, I'm happy with my vote to date. I voted for the EFF. Look, since the EFF has come into play in the politics, akusalalwa eParliament, and they don't have that thing that being dinner yokufaka ama-dress ngathi siya kuma-Grammy Awards when they open
the
eParliament.
The
7 July thing.
Bangene
1-1. Kube a show, kube spectacular for an hour or so.
Yes.
Kungene one minister at a time. EFF yafika ngama-overall namabhutsi. And then it became business as normal. They brought all the things that we wanted back into the table.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to them. They brought the land question back into the table. They brought all these things. Look, you can say whatever you say about Chuchu.
Sure.
But one of the things, even the DA says that our enemy number one is now Chuchu.
True. They've said that. I had an amazing gent on TikTok, but he also does other online platforms. He's a DJ, breakfast DJ on 5FM, Dan Corder.
Yes.
He was saying he believes Julius is the most talented politician we have.
No, he is.
Because when he speaks, people listen, people shake.
I mean, second to Jay-Z is Juju. Second to Jay-Z.
Uvotela in 2024, look, second to Jay-Z.
Look, MK came. It came, MK, it came, Smile, it came. Look, everyone uyatatazela.
Uthanda Zuma because you're a Zulu and you're a tribalist.
No, look, Msholozi second term angimvotelanga.
You voted for the EFF?
I voted for the EFF.
Okay.
I voted for Msholozi the first term.
Let me think. Who did we vote for last time?
Last time we voted for Cyril.
We voted for Cyril.
Yeah.
Before that, we voted for Jacob Zuma.
Yeah, before then we voted for Jay-Z.
You voted for the EFF then again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I voted for the EFF twice.
Okay.
I didn't vote. They were not there on the first time.
Sure.
Gaga Msholozi. Remember, they are the people who brought Msholozi.
Sure.
Yeah,
when Julius was like, we will kill for Zuma.
Yes, when we were still fed. You know.
We miss fat Chuchu. We don't know about this thin Chuchu.
You know, so he came through, and then when the EFF started, I said to myself, look, I understand how politics work.
Yeah.
For me, politics does not really work on sentiments. You must bring competition. And when there's competition, we as the constituents, we really benefit because everyone wants to, please us. Up until the money thing came into politics. Because the money has literally killed the democracy. We don't have a democracy. We are just rubber stamping. The reason I was not going to vote this time around is because I looked and I said, look at Josang votelang ANC, But when the guys said after spending a vote for local government, they went and then they exchanged, they did their dealings and whatever they needed to do to bring a coalition government, But when we give them that ticket, even the people that we said we don't want, because when I don't vote for you, I'm saying to you as somebody that I'm sending, I don't want to Penwell.
Yeah.
So don't bring Penwell in a back door.
Sure.
And I don't know how much Penwell has given you for you to see what you must override me as a voter and give Penwell a back door. Because the ANC was given the back door by whatever means and. So look, I'm not against the ANC.
Sure.
I am just against anyone who's against abantu abamnyama,
You're pro-black.
I am pro-black and I'm I'm not only pro-black, I am pro-black, I am also pro-progress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you not voting for the EFF again? Especially because you're saying you're not disappointed. You're happy.
Look, I am happy with the EFF.
Sure.
But look, man, Umsholozi's got that thing, man. You know the MK thing. You know, now I've always known and I've always been able to read things. But now in retrospect, everything that I could see that I did not have facts to back it up.
Sure.
In retrospect, after Jay-Z has left, these things are coming in now and people are confirming with no. Under Jay-Z, the country performed better and they mark, like for instance, we can take load shedding. You know, Jay-Z really ended load shedding for 3 years.
Sure.
You know, we had 3 years of no load shedding.
No load shedding.
No load shedding for 3 years. People can't fathom not having load shedding for 3 years. 16, 17, 18, there was no load shedding in the country. And believe you me, there were no new power stations. I think Gusile was not there.
Yeah.
Midupi was not fully commissioned.
Yeah.
Now we have all these power stations. You know, Gusile is on unit number 5 now. Unit number 5 is commissioned, fully commissioned.
Sure.
But we still have load shedding. Yeah, right? So you look at JZ and you look at how we lived personally, my personal finances.
Yes.
You know, under JZ they were very good. And I know a lot of people.
No,
I'm not a tender guy.
Sure.
You know, for some reason I haven't done tender. The reason I don't do tenders is because I believe the tendering system is terrible.
Okay.
I can't fund the state. You can't give me a project to come into the studio and say to me, do the studio with your own money and then pay me after 90 days.
I hear you.
What kind of nonsense is that?
It doesn't make sense, no?
It doesn't make sense. I worked in the private sector. I come to your house. You want me to build my room. I charge you, I need 50%.
Put a deposit so I can get stuff.
You put a deposit, I go get stuff, I start working, and then you pay me as I reach certain progress.
Yeah.
That's what business is all about. I don't understand this business of government not paying. I would understand if they would really pay 14, 30 days after you've invoiced. They don't even pay 14, 30 days. Those people will take you under. If we are honest, the tendering system has taken lots of black businesses out of business. If we are really honest and we really sit down and we take and we crunch the numbers, lots of black businesses, especially small black businesses, they're all gone because of non-payment. One of the biggest things, the non-payment thing. There was a time Umsholozi had a department in the presidency where they were looking to make sure that all small and medium enterprises, they were paid within 30 days. The worst case is 60 days.
Sure.
If you are not paid, you're actually even encouraged to go to, I think, Pretoria and take your invoice there. They'll look at your invoice and see what's the problem and make sure that department pays you. You see, now this is being really, what's the term? That's being really intentional about making sure that black businesses really thrive and come up. Because we are the majority. We can't be the majority of the country and still be the least participating people in the economy of the country. It's not possible. The country is not going to thrive. It's like you're having 10 kids and you're investing in this one kid.
Sure. The light-skinned one.
The light-skinned one, like
all the dark ones are not eating.
The dark ones like me are not eating. I mean, it's in the long term, that thing is not sustainable.
Sure.
Yeah, because if you sit down and you look at the fact that if apartheid never happened in Mzansi and the government then invested in all people equally, this country will be beautiful. Number one, we had a gold rush.
Sure.
So we had money that we could use. The world needed our product. There was money. If money was properly invested, we could be very, very far as a country if apartheid never happened. But now it's continuing. Unfortunately, it's continuing. Unless you've got money, you can't send your kid to good schools.
Do you think ANC Ramaphosa is intentional about destroying small businesses and in particular keeping out the black masses from being active in the economy, mainstream economy?
Man, I don't have to say it. You just have to look at the numbers. You see, with the ANC, it depends on which faction you are in. But with this current one, even the guys who are in their faction, I mean, no one is eating. James.
Sure. Do you believe in democracy?
There isn't any democracy.
Actually, democracy that we have, no?
No. The democracy says the majority shall rule.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the people's rule. The majority must rule. Look, if it's known fact to there were monies that exchanged hands. So, look, if you are going to buy the conference, if you are going to buy the conference.
That's not democracy.
That's not democracy. If you are going to involve money, that's not democracy. I'm not saying who brought money. I'm just saying if you are going to involve money, you're not even involving ideologies. You know, I come from TNT then way back. You know, it is now TUT.
Sure.
When they were campaigning for the ANC president, we'll go to the gymnasium, sit down there, and the guys will bring ideologies. You know, that when I become the president, this is what I'm going to do. The PAC will come. The PASO, PAC
Sure.
student organization will come. SASCO will come. You know, I belong to the SCF, the Student Christian Movement.
Sure.
Once we put a candidate, because we had numbers, everyone knew that that candidate is going to win. It does not matter how bad or good their speeches were, because that's what democracy is.
Sure.
When you've got the numbers win. I'll tell you something that makes me think democracy ayikho. And look, I don't like it, democracy, especially for a country like ours.
Okay.
Yeah, in a country like ours, we need some sort of a benevolent dictator.
But how do you get benevolent? I think that's the biggest fear, because baningi abantu that have been speaking about getting dictators.
No,
the problem when you, because this is the first part. You don't appoint a dictator.
Yeah.
The dictator appoints themselves.
Yes.
But now the hoping that they're benevolent, aka good, or have good intentions, you'll never know till after.
Yes, it's a retrospect thing. Man, it's like.
But you're saying a developing country like ours, where it's not democracy.
No, you don't. Because look, I was listening to Mcebo Dlamini.
Sure.
You know, on the podcast, got this guy.
David Mashabel.
David Mashabel.
Yeah.
He says something that is very nice that I like. He said he got appointed under Mayor Makura, the late.
David Makura.
Yeah, not David Makura. The mayor, the guy who was.
Oh, the mayor. There was. There were two of them that we lost.
Two of them.
It was Joliti.
Yeah.
And Jeff Makubo.
Jeff Makubo.
Yes.
Under Jeff Makubo, was given a project to reclaim all the buildings in the city. He said they identified the building, hijacked buildings and everything. And guess who stopped them? The NGOs. They took them to court. Up until today, that thing has never moved. How can you hijack a building and then take somebody to court who is the state? That's democracy for you. That is the constitution we have for you. So in 30 years, it has shown that it's not working, Mganam.
Do you wish Umalema could be a dictator? Do you wish Umalema could stop playing the democratic game and said, no, I mean, I'm going to dominate and I'm going to lead, and every space I go into.
Look how he runs the EFF. Let's be honest, the center is holding there.
Sure.
Look when they organized their 10th year conference.
Sure.
Look what he said to the representatives. In each region, I want a bus, and it must be funded by you.
Sure.
Because we pay you in the EFF. And those who didn't, he fired them.
Sure.
That's a benevolent dictator.
So then keep voting EFF, Baba. Umsholo zoqala, he's old, Ubaba, as much as we love him. Number two, we also don't know if he's going to even sit in parliament. We'll see faces we've never seen there.
No, I think you know, Mokhoeng.
Yes.
He came with a prophecy. You know, there's a Christian part of me.
Yeah.
You know, that looked at that guy and said, there's something that the former chief is
Justice
saying. That he said, God said to him, you know, he said, God said to me, I am going to be a president of this country. And I don't have to join any political party, but I will be the president of this country. And I'm looking, and I'm like, who really needs a president? Jesus' right to market and campaign, but who needs a president? MK needs a president. And who's the ideal president? Mokhoeng.
You reckon he's going to join?
They have this relationship, and I know Jay-Z.
Sure.
That is strong, you know.
Sure.
And look, they had a very good thing that they were doing. No, I mean under Umukhoeng, the judiciary was good.
Wasn't he biased towards Umsholos in the same way it looks like Chief Justice Raymond Zondo's biased towards
But he's found Umsholo's guilt in many instances.
Okay, so he's proven objectivity and impartiality.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we can't say the same about the current.
Chief Justice Raymond Zondo.
How many cases has Ntasingala lost?
And he turns a blind eye to things like Palapala.
How many cases? I mean,
the bank statements are still sealed to this day.
Till this day, Mchan.
What is in the bank statements that would make the judiciary lock them and make us not want to see? It does not make sense. In a constitutional democracy where there's meant to be transparency.
You must go and ask the EFF guys. Probably some of them has it. You know, you must, maybe, I don't know. You know?
One of the things you and I have spoken about is state-owned enterprises and just institutions in general.
SOEs.
And outside of a benevolent dictator, there's the idea of privatizing everything. To say, look, if every poor South African, black, white, colored, Indian, doesn't matter, if all of them aspire to have medical aid and use private hospitals, all of them aspire to send their kids to private schools, all of them aspire to live in the suburbs, all of them aspire to work in a nice company, should we not be striving to privatize as much of the state or state-owned enterprises as possible?
I would like lay nice floor for it, you know, so that those international people can hear what I mean. Look, firstly, I hate privatization. The reason I hate private things is because they cannibalize public. I am from the era where Para,
Chrisani Parakwana Hospital
was one of the best, not in South Africa, in the continent, and competing with the best in the world.
It was the second largest hospital in the world, and it was one of the best.
Groteskir.
In Cape Town.
In Cape Town, the first successful heart transplant.
Chris Barnard.
It was done in a public hospital, not in a private hospital.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly speaking, if you go to the private hospital and you remove the portion that they are getting from the medical aid, there will not be a sustainable business. If you remove that portion that they take by force from medical aids and from government, there will not be a sustainable business. You know?
So they need that.
They need that to be sustainable. That's number one. Number two, you know, anything that is private, it takes what public has trained and give it good money. Now it cannibalizes the private. Like if we take between me and you,
sure,
we are from Umtata and from Umtuba, right deep in the rural. The government trains us as doctors.
Yes.
And we go and we qualify. We go to Cuba. We come back. We serve our time 6 years with the state, whatever contract the state says. And the private sector comes and they give you 15, 20 times what the government can pay you. Who's the biggest loser there? The state. But they did not train their own doctors. You know?
That's interesting.
They did not train.
Private does not train their own people.
No.
They poach from public.
They cannibalize the public. And here's another downside. Because we live, you know, people think that business have got morals. Business don't have morals.
Profit driven.
They are profit driven.
At any cost.
You know, at any cost. One guy said, if a country is run by banks, that country will always be in debt. You wonder why you are always given a credit card without even you asking for it.
Sure.
Because the people who are running the country are the banks.
Congratulations, you've qualified for, 50,000, 200,000.
On your app, congratulations, you are pre-approved to increase your thing to 250,000. It did not apply. You'll always be in debt if the country is run by banks. If the country is run by security companies, there'll always be criminals. How do you justify the existence of the private security companies if there are no crime? Because
if there's no crime, the businesses collapse.
The business will collapse. If the suburb, there's no one who breaks in. I tell you, if no one breaks into the suburb for 6 months, people will suspend their subscription.
Correct.
The reason you subscribe to the security company is because the public security company that is supposed to protect you, the SAPS, has collapsed.
Can we not argue? I want to defend private because I'm half capitalist. Can the private sector not argue that when you say these doctors are trained by the public sector, that's from our tax money as the private?
Yes.
So indirectly, it's some of our money that trained. I don't know.
Yes, it's some of their money that trained.
Sure.
But, okay, who's the biggest tenderpreneur?
It's private business.
So the tax that they get, is that not the money that me and you has collected and given to them, and they're paying the tax? Big private businesses are like government employees. They get paid by the government, they pay tax from what the government has paid them.
Because I can imagine, even to what you're saying, Mangabanga medical aid, private hospitals, private schools, a lot of the clients there are government workers. So it's a school teacher, it's a police officer, it's a nurse, they all have medical aid. And they're the ones holding the private sector up.
The other one, even from your pension funds, if you remove the government, even from the bank, you know the province of Gauteng, if it can withdraw its account,
sure.
This is what Umsholo's wanted to do with the VBS.
Sure.
He took the money from municipalities, and where was the money from municipalities sitting? Your ABSAs, your in. He took it to VBS. And they had to close it down, and they were quick, very efficient.
They didn't do that with African Bank.
No, they rescued it.
Yeah, to this day.
I mean, imali yabo gogo basevenda.
Sure.
You know, I mean, in two provinces in the country, you go to KZN, you've got Teba Bank. That bank. Yeah, it's got Tala Bank.
Tala Bank currently looks like they looking to sabotage.
Look, those guys, they really prompt black business in KZN.
Uti Teba.
Itala.
There was another one you mentioned?
No, Iteba is for the mines.
Okay.
Yeah, the Teba Bank was at the mines in the northwest.
Okay.
And then in the Limpopo province, you had VBS. Those banks, they really, really prompt up black businesses.
Yeah. And
they had to die.
Do you think we need to bring Bantustans back? Some people still dream about Bophuthatswana. Some people say parts of the Transkei were developing. And then when apartheid ended and we became this united South Africa, all the developments that had been happening in the Bantustans, even places like University of Zululand or Fort Hare were great institutions of learning. It looks like they were like, no, part of the reason they wanted to remove the Bantustans was to destroy black progress driven by black people.
Look, I don't know, you know. I think I would say I don't know.
Sure.
I don't think that will be progress. But I can't also deny the fact that, you know, when I was at TNT then,
sure,
and it got meshed with Pretoria Tech. It was Pretoria Tech, Pretoria University. They got meshed and they became one thing. But guess who progressed in that measure? I'm telling you, at TUT, there's no new res. I left school in 1994.
Yeah, you're exposing your age, man.
I left tertiary in 1994. Man.
Sure.
I went there about 4 years back. There's no new res that was built. But go to Pretoria Tech, the former Pretoria Tech, TUT in town,
sure,
and see how progressive and how progressed that institution has become.
Sure.
You know? So for me, the institute, you go to TEF. This is not only
TEFLOP.
You go to TEFLOP. You go to the university that produced Dabo Mandela in the Eastern Cape.
Forte.
Yeah. You go to any institute that used to be black then.
Yeah.
It's nowhere, Mganam. It's not doing very well.
Can you agree that can you agree?
So I can't argue with that fact. When people say we want something back, and you look at what happened when we said this thing is not,
sure,
you know, we want to be one country, unite, and this and this. Things did not go right, but that does not mean you know, you can't throw the baby
with the
water. You know. So we have to find things that will work and work. By the way, going back to the things that my SOEs, I hate privatization. You know, in 1996, when I started working at Eskom, we were doing solar panels then.
In 1996?
96.
Okay, under Eskom?
Under Eskom.
Okay.
It was called TIR then, Technological Research Institution in Rocheville.
Okay.
We had an electric car then. The electric car was a Kumbi, a VW Kumbi. We removed the engine, put electric motors,
sure,
run by the batteries and the solar. It will transport the stuff from Rocheville at the bottom to Cleveland Station in the morning.
It worked?
It worked. Every day it worked perfectly. That was 1996. You know why solar did not take up? Solar has not even taken up today. You know why?
Why not?
It was very expensive. It's still expensive even today. So how do you make people accept to pay 110,000 to install a solar that is going to die in 5 years? You make Eskom unreliable. The reason you have load shedding is so that the IPPs can really make sense. Because financially, the IPPs and the solars and they don't make sense.
Renewable energy.
The renewable energy financially does not make sense. It doesn't. You can't. If I was paying 110,000, you can do your maths, simple maths. Your bill per month for electricity, worst case is about 3,000. You pay 110.
Sure.
3,000 times 12, you can do your maths there. And see after 5 years. See after 5 years where you are. Where are you? This thing after 5 years the solars die, the batteries die, you must recycle again. So did you make any savings? Is it worth the upfront investment? The only thing that makes people to think about solar, load shedding.
And solar is unreliable.
And solar is unreliable.
If the sun is not available.
If the sun is not available, you can't run that. You can't actually run strong machinery on solar.
No, you can't.
You can't.
Solar will keep on the lights and those things. Things like kettles
once
and
you
fridges.
put a grinder, for me as a contractor, once I put a grinder, that thing is dead.
Issue case.
That thing is dead. Like, it kills the batteries like crazy.
I want to jump to this privatization, but I want to go back to the DA, EFF, ANC. And you were speaking about a racist DA. Can you agree that the DA is better at governance? Or consider it? Because that's one of the arguments. So let's say we agree that they're racist. They found the right ambassador in face in Cyril Ramaphosa. They don't even need to boost the DA because they're like, no, Ramaphosa's ANC. Even John Steenhuisen said, as long as Cyril Ramaphosa is head of the ANC, we're willing to speak coalition. Do you think they're better at governance?
When December was, when Devon and eThekwini was still eThekwini then, if we did not book like October, November, we would not find a space.
Sure.
So this 1 year we booked at Devon late. Me and my friend, we took our family to Devon. We booked very late. So we got a very dodgy hotel in a funny suburb. I don't know where was it. It was Phoenix. But what I know is that I was at the border of an Islamic community. And the other religion, in Devon is
Hindu.
Yeah. With the Hindus, everything goes. Ne?
What does that mean? Everything goes?
I mean, they smoke, they drink, they gamble, and with the Muslim, like this order. So sure. I was there at the border. The hotel was at the border.
Sure.
You're standing at the hotel room. You're looking on your left. The Muslim area is nice, clean, and tidy. No one litters. No one walks on the street. You think that no one lives there.
Sure.
You look at the Hindu. They smoke. They do all those things. So
I just need to protect Hindu people. That maybe it was just a poor community here and a rich community here.
I can tell you. Sure. One of the things. So you can't argue with results. My mom said to me when DA was led by Omashaba, but you know what? Nyamthanda Uzuma. My mom is like Zulu from KZN. Ngizovotela uZuma national, but locally ngizofake DA provincial.
Because I like Mashaba.
Because I like what DA is doing. Mangfona, they come.
Yeah.
So look, as much as I hate, I was happy when Cape Town was on day 0 for what?
Jeez.
It brought me joy to see white people carrying ikupu ngamanzi. Honestly, I know it's twisted.
Sure.
I know it, but it gives the other part of the country to experience what every one of us has always been.
There are many black people that enjoy watching white people complain about load shedding. They're like, it's the first time in your life you feel the pain of no service delivery.
No service delivery.
We've been struggling with that since.
We've been on this thing for years. So when I look, I was building a house in Mossel Bay for a client. I tell you, Chief, those people are efficient with governance.
The DA.
I went to a location. And there's this notion that the DA election ends next.
Yeah.
I went to Kwanongaba. There's a township in Mossel Bay called Kwanongaba.
Yes.
Where your colors and blacks are. There's no demarcation, not like in Joburg, Rachepak. No. They're all
together.
You don't know what to speak when you are there.
Sure.
With who,
Sure.
So I'm there and I went to the clinic. I said, I want to see something. I'm doing an experiment. I want to see how efficient this administration is. And I get there at 6 o'clock, it's packed. And I'm like, okay, this looks like home.
Sure. I'm used to this.
I'm used to this. At 9 o'clock, I stayed there until 9 o'clock. After 9, there was no one.
Done.
The nurses were there looking at their phones. There was no one. I left at 12. The clinic was empty.
I spoke to someone about the Western Cape. I've got my issues with the DA, but I mean, when we speak about running the country, we need to sometimes remove emotions and those things. They were speaking about the healthcare system in the Western Cape, and they said it's the most efficient. Doctors are placed, everything is in order. You don't get to hospitals and there's things missing.
Chief, I was at the township, Kwanongaba.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I should tell you that no one speaks about, Kwanongaba kunemikuku, the shacks. But the people who are living in shacks are non-South Africans. If you're a South African, you've got a shack, they build for you immediately. Kwanongaba, there's 4 houses, there's a shack in between. And I'm like, why is that shack not built? Because this, you can see, say, no, that one, a foreigner stays there.
Yeah.
A non-South African stays there.
Yeah.
That's why the government can't build for them. But they also have power. And I'm saying, why do they have power? They say, no, the city decided long time ago, when you put a check, they'll come and put a legal connection.
Yeah.
Because you are going to steal this power anyway.
Yeah.
So they might as well put a legal connection so that you will pay. And if you don't pay, they take the power away. And I'm like, that is governance. You've accepted that you have a problem. But don't suffer. You are suffering, number one, that this person is here illegally. Don't suffer even more by failing to recognize that they are here.
Should we not be voting for good governance or better governance in a DA? Of which a lot of people criticize the DA for the Cape Flats, and then they always come back and say, no, the jurisdiction there and the police fall under nationally, SAPS.
Look.
Should we not be voting for better governance?
No, there's politics that's playing in the Cape Flats. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You see, as a country, I don't know what to start in. There's something that really is not working right.
Sure.
With education, we've de-escalated. You can make educational decision provincially.
Okay.
With health, you can do those as well.
Provincially.
Why can't you do the same with police? Why can't you do the same with police? If we are really, really after delivery, because all these decisions are made to make the delivery efficient.
Sure.
Why can't we do? The only reason that is left is that if we do that, then they shine and then they are able to solve this problem. Then it will be like...
You think they're being sabotaged? Potentially.
I can't rule that out.
So in saying the DA might be, we don't know, might be better at governance, could we also argue similarly that the private sector is better at delivery?
No.
Yes, they might be profit-driven, they might be immoral, they might be cannibalizing the public sector, but are they not better at delivery? Is that not why everyone aspires to live a private life?
The private sector is not better than the public sector at delivery. It's just that the private sector is able to shine a spotlight on the failures of the public sector. There's lots of failures of private sector. Like, for instance, they'll run a factory and then they take their stuff and dump it in the water. No one shines a spotlight on their failures.
I wanted to say something the other day. I just forgot who was giving the example. I don't even know what they were talking about. Wow. I wanted to make an example the other day because someone was comparing the private and the public. And in my head, I was like, but if the public sector could charge the same rate as the private, because right now we have an imbalance. You're like, this is bad. Like, for example, public hospitals are inundated with patients. They have too many. Here you don't have as many, number one, and you're charging more per patient.
Per patient, yes.
If you were to do a like-for-like where you were to charge the same or budget the same per patient, do you really think? Because then we'd start seeing how bad this corruption looting thing is.
Exactly.
I think it was schools. Someone was speaking about schools.
Yes.
And they were like, look at township schools and urban. I'm like, but the budgets are not the same. It's difficult to compare if the budgets and the fees, because put the budgets and the fees at the same level and then maybe let's see.
My son went to Chippy Boys.
That's a good school, that.
Give a shout out to Chippy Boys.
Shout out to Chippy Boys. That's a good school. I love their rugby as well.
I tell you go there. There's a science center.
Sure.
You know what you find at the University of Pretoria? Where they put you on machines and they check your fitness and all those things. They have
high performance center.
The high performance center.
Yeah.
They have that thing there. They've got I think they've got 4 pools.
Okay.
They've got your normal pool. They've got an Olympic size what pool. They've got a pool where they play the games. I don't know what they call that.
Water polo.
Water polo. They've got the pool for that, and they've got a hockey field. I'm not talking about rugby. Rugby is like on another level.
Sure.
We were paying 70,000 rands. The last time my boy was there, 3 years back, the fees was 70. So the fees make the difference.
Okay.
And one of the things that also Chippy Boys does, and they do this thing very, very well, the old boys culture.
Sure.
Because one of the things that when my son was doing his matric, they brought a guy from industry. He would volunteer hours. He was almost retiring. He was a general manager. I think it was SAP, but he's an old Chippy boy.
Sure.
So he would sit with the boys and talk to them and say, what is the problem? Why are you not performing? Where can we help you? Which teacher are you having a problem? Do you want us to change you? And I looked and I sat on that program and I looked and I said, there's no way Chippy boys can't get 100% pass rate with such thing. And it's a public school.
Yeah, it's a public school.
It shows you what public can do with good support, good governance, and with money.
Yeah.
People must really don't get confused. When people pay, they appreciate the service. And when people pay, they make sure that they get the service. One of the things I tell people that the reason the public school, the township school were successful during our times, even our times were the worst of times during apartheid, is because we had the cream of the crop that could not go anywhere else. You had this guy was a brilliant engineer.
I hear your argument now. There's a brain drain, there's a skills drain from public to private. And then private shines on a brain drain from a public sector.
Imagine a public sector gets a Penwell to come and teach in a public school, podcasting and doing all these things.
You're a businessman?
Yes, I am.
You're a capitalist?
I am.
But you still have an issue with the private sector?
I'm a capitalist with the heart.
Sure.
Because I believe I can't take anything out of this world.
But don't you wish you worked for the public sector? Maybe government does construction and they say, well,
I will die.
I
will die. Those people are toxic. I will die there.
But you're saying private sector is not better than public?
No, private sector is not better, but at least in private sector there are systems, there are deliverables. You get accountable.
Sure.
All those boxes, as toxic as it is, but there's progress. You see, when somebody hits you, at least they must tell you why they beat you.
Sure.
They must not beat you for the happiness of beating you.
Sure.
So in public sector, I feel like you get beaten just because they like beating.
It sounds like your argument, because I was going to say you sound like a hypocrite.
No.
It sounds like your argument is, we agree that the public sector is not great.
Yes.
But it's not for the reasons that people think it is.
Exactly. And we agree that the public sector is not great. It's also not a reason to kill it.
Okay.
So it's more of a reason to build it.
Who's going to build it?
Somebody must build it. Unfortunately, I'm not part of those.
Baba. Yeah, so someone else, not me.
I've done my part in building the public.
You did work at ESCOM.
Yeah, I worked. And
so you've served your time.
Mamela, it was still ESCOM then. All the private sector engineers, they were all trained by SOEs. I tell you, you can go to all the records.
Yeah.
During our times, all the engineers that I know that worked for Siemens, for all the German companies.
Sure.
If you came from ESCOM, if you have ESCOM on your CV, you are as good as taken. You know the school that the AfriForum has built now? Soltech.
Yeah.
ESCOM built Soltech long time ago in Midrand called ESCOM College. When you want to do anything, all the expensive courses that are done now by all the electricians in private institutions, those things were done for free for us as electrical engineers and electricians at ESCOM College. You would go there, you'd get 3 meals a day, you'll stay in a 5-star hotel, and you still get paid every month. You'll go there for 6 months. 6 months, Penwell. On Friday, they give you a food parcel, they take you in a passport, bag stop in next to where you stay. There were ESCOM buses going to SOE, there were ESCOM buses going to Etembisa. And I'm telling you about the private, public institution that worked.
Let's speak about Amapono, white Afrikaners. So you speak about good public schools, of which JP Boys is amazing, KES is amazing. There's a whole lot of them. There are very few Afrikaans private schools.
Yes.
All the top schools, Grey College, I'm trying to think of the Affis Macy's in Pretoria, Affis Science, the Paul Roos, Paul Boys, Paul Gymnasium, all the top Afrikaans schools, Waterkloof, are all public schools. And to what you were saying, the community involvement is huge. The old boys or the old scholars societies that go back, like imagine Mandela and all of them.
Exactly.
No Mugabe going back to Fort Hare. Something we don't have a culture of. And then you speak about ESCOM and you speak about the public-private sector and white Afrikaners are seen as almost like the Germans of South Africans. They came here and they built ESCOM, Sasol, ISCO, you name it.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on white Afrikaners? We speak about Soltech and AfriForum and Solidarity now. We spoke about the DA. Should we not be looking to the Freedom Front Plus? Or asking white Afrikaans people to be like, please help us.
I love Afrikaners. For one thing, when they said that we are going left, they are going left.
They go left.
If left is not working, but they are going left.
Sure.
You see, one thing that I hate about wanting to accommodate everyone is this indecision it brings as a byproduct.
Sure.
Because if you want to please everyone, you must consult. The department was stopped from doing the water reticulation because it did not consult the community. The community wants a stake. Hey man, we are not going to get anywhere.
Sure. Too many stakeholders.
Too many stakeholders.
With different views.
And all these different views, when we are honest enough, they all have this thing that they want the money on this tender. Sure. They don't have interest of the people. Ultimately,
sure.
When you really look down and you sieve and you crystallize everything, sure. You see with all these things are just noise to just get to the bank. So look, I love Afrikaners.
Vote for Freedom Front Plus.
No.
Pieter Groenewald, Corneille Mulder.
No, you see, one thing I love about Afrikaners is that when they are good, they are good. But when they are stupid, they also go far left. They've got extremes,
Sure.
But one thing I loved about Afrikaners, because I grew up during apartheid,
sure.
Is that when they don't like you, I mean, their yes is a yes. I had lots of Afrikaner bosses. Yosaki van Veeks, and I'm not sure if he's still alive.
Sure.
Many of them, their yes were yes. It was hard to get their yes, but once you get their yes,
it's a yes. You can
trust
it.
You can trust it. You don't have to look back.
Sure.
Unlike the other ones, Base Santin, they look at you and they smile, and it's a no. They know it's a no, and they give you a yes and they sabotage you. So look. Here's what made Afrikaners work, and here's what made Afrikaners great. They had no any other second home. See, in life, when you burn the bridges and give yourself no options to go anywhere,
sure.
You'll have to build where you are. How you build where you are?
They don't have a brain train, skills train. No, they're like, this is our home, we're going to build it.
This is our home, we're going to build it. And they also actually even said that this is ons vader's land.
Yeah.
Whether it's wrong or right, that thing made them to say, let's build. You know how Sasol came about? Because there was an embargo that we could not get oil.
Sure.
Somebody said, they said there, the Prudepon, they said, Sonor, the agent on Sal, I don't know on Sal on what, but it means even without the agents, we shall survive.
Yes.
That's the meaning of Sasol. That's the meaning of Sasol in Afrikaans.
Okay.
When you read
they created their own acronym.
They created their
Sonor
own.
The what Salons Lief or something.
Lief. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the history I get when I read the books
sure.
of the Prudepon and but they really created a petrol out of coal.
Yeah.
That was a very, very genius thing to do.
Yeah.
They really created something out of nothing. So we look at them and you say, look, I can hate what they did because apartheid was terrible.
Sure.
It was terrible. You can't even justify
sure.
it. But also the guy, because a person cannot only be one-sided. The person has many sides.
Correct.
Their great side is that they really, really built. Things that really lasted. Things that are still going on up until today.
When I used to be pro-black and I had the Buy Black movement, one of my ideas, and I think I wrote a piece on it, was self-sanctions. Self-sanctions. So normally sanctions drive ingenuity.
Yes.
You don't have a choice because if no one is supplying you with chicken, if you have to do it yourself.
You have to.
And my argument for black people at that time was, I think black people need to self-sanction. You need to be like, if we are not producing bread, we won't eat bread.
Yes.
If we are not owning a spaza shop, you can't buy there.
Yeah.
But you must create it yourself, and there you'd need a dictator to say, like, it takes. You has a taxi. You can't just say, I'm not jumping in here, I'm jumping in here. They're like, yeah, baba. Also, kibela. They make you get off whatever pass or any car, and they're like, kibela. If black people could self-sanction, things like brain drain, especially in townships, is the one part. The second part is maybe forced. You spoke about doctors. They have ComServe. So after you've gotten your scholarship or bursary to study under government, you have to then go serve, normally in the community where you come from. I've thought before of this idea of, even if it's 2 years, which is not a lot, because we're always churning skills.
Yes.
To be like, Penwell, you're going to have to go to Ematateni and serve for 2 years. You can choose. You can be a school teacher. You can be a soccer coach. You can go work in the municipality. But for 2 years, you will serve, and then the next guy will come after. And do the same in your old high school, your old primary school, that part of your service is going to be 6 months, like this gentleman at JP Boys.
Yes.
And we have even if it's for 2 years. And some people, obviously, maybe they don't have other opportunities. They'll be forced to stay.
To continue.
Or they'll find an opportunity and be like, you know what? Something actually took my heart here. I think I can turn
this thing around.
this thing into something special. And you end up staying. Because right now, all of us run away. I'm in Johannesburg now. The question is, I think I've done my bit as well, but maybe I could do more. And maybe I can get other guys to also, even if it's just 1-2 days a year, everyone from wherever they come from, we call it reunion weekend, which is what the old boys call it at their schools.
Yes.
Reunion weekend, everyone goes back to where they grew up. They roll their sleeves up like Mandela Day. You paint, you dig, you sit down with the kids there. You offer speeches if you have a skill like DJing, black coffee.
Yeah.
You go back to wherever you come from. You teach kids for that day to DJ. If you're an actor, if you're an electrician, you go to the kids and you're like, I want just for that weekend. And you say, this is how we give back.
Look, Chief, one of the things that made, Uritendo,
Matinyarare.
He said something that really got me thinking. And I agreed with him after analyzing it and thinking a little bit. I do thinking sometimes, not always. When I'm driving, my mind usually shuts down. But generally, I do think, So he says, we can blame the ANC, but the ANC has given all the tools to black people to thrive.
I remember him saying that.
He said in Zimbabwe, it was the middle class that really sabotaged all the gains that they had made. As soon as things became hot after they were sanctioned, they left the country.
They didn't stay.
They didn't stay.
Imagine white Afrikaners. The ANC government comes in, they all leave. They go back to Europe, the Netherlands, and we're left. They said, no, this is the fatherland, we'll stay. And you're saying Zimbabwe, and maybe for us now, Natu Makshisa, Eastern Cape, poor province, Limpopo, parts of KZN, as soon as it gets hot,
you leave. I think the States General, I don't know who he is now. I used to know
Upadi, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who's I think it's the lady now, eh?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I actually put Upadi Lehohla's name on my list of people I need to sit with because he promised me a couple of years ago that we must do coffee. So we must do coffee on a platform.
This guy says Limpopo is the province that is experiencing the biggest brain drain. Out of 10 kids who leave Limpopo to come and study in Pretoria particularly, 8 don't go back. So how do you expect Limpopo to survive? It's not, So one of the things that we need to bring back as black people is to understand that once we're at a certain level, we really have to go and probably, between the two of us and other guys, we need to come and start the organization of volunteering to go and really work and bring back what we need to. We need that culture of always giving back to because there's this notion that a government school is a government school.
Excuse me.
And it's not your school. As if a government is not you.
Yeah.
Once you accept the responsibility of being the government, your behavior towards certain things around you will change.
We volunteer so much at private schools where we already pay high fees.
Where we pay high fees.
But we don't want to volunteer. You're like, the ANC must sort that out.
I tell you, the public schools don't volunteer. My girl goes to a private school. Those guys, they volunteer so much.
Yeah.
They give
and
shoes,
fundraising.
They fundraise and they do
after the expensive school fees.
After the expensive school fees. You see, so something is imbalancing here. You'd expect the guys who are poor, which they'll say, you know what, we need to raise funds
because we don't have the money.
Because we don't have the money. Let's go and do this. Let's go and you'll think that creative juice will come from this side.
Maikas is the one fixing the roof, and Oleate is the one plant nothing.
But in the great collection of books that is called the Bible, a great prophet, and that and the Christian calls him the Son of God. Jesus said, to those that more is given.
If you want something done, give it to the person that's already got a lot.
He says, if the story of the talents, says this guy went away, gave this one 5, gave this one 2, gave this one 1. The one that was given 5, when the master came back, said, Master, here's 10. You gave me 5, I've doubled it. The one who was given 2 said, Master, you gave me 2, here's 4. The one who was given 1, he said, Master, I took your talent and I hid it. I did a very good job of hiding it. I didn't lose it. Here's your talent. The master was angry. And he took the 1 and he gave it to the one who had 5, now having 10. So he had 11. He said to the guy who said, good, well done, good and faithful servant. That means, and then he said, the moral of the story is, if you don't have, the little that you have will be taken away from you and be given to the one who's more. It's a cruel system if you look at it, but it's the reality. Because when you have, you tend to look, after what you have.
Yes.
I'll give an example. I always try and crystallize these things to practical example that will see if you are driving Skorokor,
Sure.
the traffic cops are more likely to get a bribe from you. Yeah. Number one, you drive Skorokor because you don't have money.
Sure.
You are going to be stopped by the officers and the little that you have will be taken.
Correct.
I am driving Range Rover. I have money.
Ark.
I'm not going to be stopped. I'm not saying I'm driving Range Rover. I'm just saying.
Just as an example.
An example. You are not going to be stopped.
Yeah.
But you still have money and your money will not be taken.
Yeah.
So you see, so as a person, what you then do in that circumstance, the message in that little story is to tell you that, Lalela, always upgrade.
Yeah.
Because if you don't upgrade, if you're not going forward, you are going backwards.
Yeah. It actually makes me sad because when you think of the township dynamic, the poorest people will take the little bit of money they have and still bank with a Capitec with headquarters in Stellenbosch or in the Western Cape.
Hey.
They'll still buy from a ShopRite whose headquarters are in the Western Cape under Christo Visa. They'll still buy booze. They're still giving away their money to rich people.
Chief, someone has said, who bewitched you? I don't know. And the sad part is that we come from parents who had nothing, but they built something out of nothing.
Out of nothing.
They were not allowed to bank.
Sure.
They started the stock
fair.
They were not allowed to have shops. They started the spaza shop.
Yeah.
The spaza shop business is started because you're not allowed to have shop. You'll start a spaza shop.
Correct.
A dummy shop. Spaza means it's a dummy. It's a dummy shop. We started that thing. We started the taxi business because we're not allowed to run the buses.
Correct.
It's only the taxi business that thrived, really go
it was a protest business. People don't know that. The government never wanted taxis on the road.
It never wanted taxis on the road, but they protested and they made something out of it. So I don't know where did we lose this thing?
Yeah.
But I know where we lost it, if I do my own analysis. The brain drain has serious devastating effect because it is those who can think.
Yeah.
I don't know who said it, that during the struggle, those who can fight, who've got power, they go and fight and they win the struggle.
Sure.
But for the struggle to go on, those who can think now needs to come and take the leadership.
Correct.
Whenever you're doing something, there's an era for each and every department. There's time for physical strength.
Sure.
There's time for mental strength.
Sure.
And those who can plan, they can plan so that those who have physical strength don't overexert themselves, but also achieve maximum results.
Correct.
Because they've got the guy who's sitting there, who's planning, who's saying, okay, go left, go right, attack now. This guy sitting is thinking.
Sure.
We don't have people who are thinking.
Do you think, not black per se, but do you think the poorest South Africans need to be oppressed again? I ask this because many of us are being forced to apply our minds with load shedding. We've never done it before. We're comfortable. You click a switch. Now we're discussing kilowatts. We're discussing energy mix. We're discussing solar. Things you would have never studied. So maybe we need to be oppressed, like I spoke about self-sanctions, because we're too comfortable. Maybe we're too comfortable. You take away the social grant. You take away. Maybe if you even close the schools in Makasi, you might find the people educating themselves, because now there isn't even that. That story you said about the talents. Okay, this little school you have, since it's dilapidated,
it's gone.
We're not going to upgrade it. We're going to leave it.
It's gone.
And then people might, under trees, start studying. And it's like now we have some dignity and we actually want the knowledge. I don't know. Were we not oppressed well enough? Are we too comfortable with the little we have?
I think we thought we arrived. And I think we're not also blessed. You see this leadership that thinks through their stomachs, it was terrible and bad for us. It's true, everything rise and fall on leadership. You need a leader. Generally, people are followers.
Generally, yes.
Generally, South Africans, that's why a prophet like Bushir can come and command numbers.
Correct. Generally, we're followers.
Generally, we're followers.
Yeah.
And generally, South African community are conditioned to be a Christian community. So when you're a Christian community, there's always a big leader. That's why Jay-Z did well.
Sure.
Because generally this is embedded in us that we want to follow.
Ubaba. The king. Yeah.
We are king's people, we are pastors people. So our makeup it's a makeup as a people of followers.
Sure.
So if you have such a setup, you must have good leaders.
Okay.
Because you are going to achieve maximum results out of the followers.
Yeah.
If you have if you have bad leaders as the followers, then we are doomed, Chief.
Yeah. I wanted to give a shout out to Ernst van Zyl from AfriForum. I sat with him on the panel show, and he was saying one of the things they believe in, one of the things he believes in is 1 hour of community service every week. I wanted to add it to this volunteering thing, and it's one of my wishes for especially the poorest areas in this country to say 1 hour per week. It can be walking around picking up dirt. Use it as time to exercise. You're walking around your car and you're like, Pen says I must volunteer. I'm lazy. I'm just going to take a walk, pick up papers. If you can do more, you can see a tree is falling off. You just need to take the branch or you want to plant something, or you can see in Tuana there's Lalipola. In that 1 hour, I'm going to use my 1 hour this week to drive to game, to buy a soccer ball or a couple of soccer balls, nama cones. I'm going to go to those boys and say, gents, please look after these things, but it's for you guys in Lalipola and not chill on the corner. Just so that community service. And if we can get more people to do the same.
Exactly. We need to drive that thing.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we can do to save the country. We need to drive.
Bringing back volunteering, community service.
Exactly, because the change is going to come from bottom up.
Yeah.
I don't know who taught us that the change is going to come from the top. All the change that we have today came from the grassroots.
You guys taught us to pray and hope that manna comes from the heavens.
Chief.
Speak about manna from the heavens. Your thoughts on social grants. Julius Malema just recently was campaigning somewhere.
Yeah.
And he said, when the EFF comes into power, you will not lose your 350. And he said, and if you are educated, if you have a qualification, everyone with matric will get 2,000 rand. Everyone with a junior degree will get 5,000 rand a month. Everyone with an honors degree will get 6,000 rand a month. He says if the government can't give you a job, then they must pay you for your qualification. How do you feel about something like that? How do you feel about social grants in general?
Look, there's a study, because I am of the view that everything that we do has got good results and unintended consequences.
Sure.
Now, with the social grants, people tend to prop the unintended consequences.
Okay.
And people are saying people are having kids because they know that the government is going to pay for them. I don't think that is entirely honest.
True?
No.
Okay.
No.
I get Kusisi that wakes up in the morning saying, hey, yes, I'm short to 510.
Yeah, I think
so I think let me go get pregnant.
No.
So an extra.
No. The pregnancy is multidimensional.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes from a whole lot of things. Si lose internet, si lose about what people can watch. There's no structure.
Yeah.
I mean, the family is dead. So this thing of being pregnant has been there even before the grants.
Okay.
So it can't be really. The numbers don't support that.
Because our grandmothers used to deliver 10, 15 before grants.
Before grants.
I hear you.
So the numbers don't support that.
Okay.
Now, here's what happens when somebody gets a grant. There was a study that was done in Kenya by an organization from the UK. It's called Volunteering or Give Direct. What they do, they collect $100. If you give $100, they'll say $90 will end in the hands of a beneficiary. Will only take $10 to do the management, of which is inversely to what everyone else is doing. $10 end up in the hand of a beneficiary, 90 gets eaten by. So what these guys have done, they collected the money and they sent the volunteers to go to Kenya and say, find us families. They went in the village randomly. They gave each and every family $1,000 once a year. And they followed those families for 5 years. That program ran for 5 years. You must see the changes that those people did.
It was just a donation.
It was just a straight donation with no condition.
Do with it what you want.
Do with it what you want. As long as you agree to participate in the program, we'll come and check you after 3 months. We want to know what you did. I tell you, people build houses, send their kids to school, increase their gardens from being a small subsistence farmer to planting more trees.
Yeah.
It changed their lives, over the period of 5 years. Out of 10 families that got the money, they all did positive things.
Sure.
Obviously, they also included the part where they enjoy themselves.
Sure.
They go and buy oros. Those who drink, they go and buy beer.
Sure.
But they did not take all the money and go get drunk.
Sure.
This is the notion that we get told by those who's saying when you get this thing, Now, the second phase to this thing that is no one talks about it is that the local economy benefited.
That is correct.
The local and
there are businesses in South Africa that are kept alive by social
grants.
Big businesses, by the way.
Even the neighbors who did not get the 1,000 rands, they benefited because generally Africans share.
Sure.
So this $1,000 that they got a year spread so much such that this program, they went and then they advocated. They said, we must do the second round now, maybe in Uganda and see. They're running this experiment. And I watched that thing and I was like, wow. So here are the numbers, because sometimes we argue emotionally. But when you look at the program, they follow you, they do all those things. So the social grant, that's the positive part of it. Yeah. The negative part of it is what you see. And this guy says, and he says something that I think we all make a mistake of. Once we put you social grant, when your life is getting better, we remove you. We pay you to get better, but once you get better, we punish you for getting better.
Are you saying the person should keep the grant?
The person who's getting better should find the incentive of getting even more. They've done better.
Okay.
They've done better.
Okay.
They've grown. This is what we want. Because remember, people are monkey see, monkey do.
Sure.
If I do my loan, the probability that 2-3 neighbors will do their loan is very high.
Sure.
So if you do well,
sure,
and once you do well, and the grant still comes, the grant I send an effect
sure.
But what it does is that the other person who sees that I'm going to receive a grant, but I don't like the 350. Mangfuni 2,000, I must go to school.
Sure.
And get a degree. I must not only get a degree, I must be a participating member. Maybe if you become part of the volunteering community member, then your 350 now moves to 650.
Sure.
There's hours that you must do in the community.
Sure.
Once you've done those hours, we move you. There's what you need to do in the grant is that you must direct the incentives.
Sure.
After you've dealt with the hunger, then you must move to the second level of using this money to achieve certain results.
Sure.
To say if you become a volunteer in your community, you move from 350 to 450.
You support Malema?
I like my ideas, Malema.
I
actually love Uchuchu from way back. I marched Uchuchu to a Pretoria.
Sure.
You come along ANC Youth League.
Sure.
They're walking from, even though a mid-rand, my feet were hot.
Sure.
I turned the mid-rand. We went to Santini, a stock exchange, Satoitoya.
Sure.
And then we walked, and then I phoned Mangfige mid-rand. Good come pick me up.
The feet are on fire, wow.
I took leave because I was already working there.
Sure.
I took leave. So I love Uchuchu. I love
No,
Uchuchu.
a lot of us love Julius.
I love Uchuchu.
A lot of us love Julius. It's also just like the ANC for me. When he does things that are upsetting, you feel hurt.
You feel hurt,
My first thought when you spoke about the Kenyans was maybe the reason they did something with the money was because they were being followed. Because they knew they needed to account to someone.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we had to make grant recipients account for what they're doing with the money. I don't know how. If that would have some type of psychological impact of, I can't keep saying, no, I bought booze. Nami, I'm ashamed to say that. I don't know.
Where does this notion come from that when I give you money and you are poor, you are not going to be responsible with that 350?
So we don't know, right? It's
know.
An assumption. But what we can say is, from when grants have been introduced, there's been an increase in grant recipients. So the assumption is people's lives are not getting better. So that's when we start assuming, because you must understand, and maybe other people need to understand, our social welfare is very broad.
Yes.
The grant is on top of a free house.
Yes.
It's on top of maybe NSFAS.
Yes.
It's on top of free healthcare. It's on top of free schooling where you get to eat. So yes, it's for the basics, but it's like, we've given you a house, you don't have to pay medical aid, you don't have to worry about food for your child at school, you don't have to worry about tertiary education. It's like, at some point, Baba, now you must do something, and we're not seeing the benefits. That's where the assumption is, Wuti. It doesn't look like these people are enterprising, coming together and saying, let's create a co-op, a stokvel, let's start farming. We're not seeing it. Maybe if we saw, which ever since we started the social grants, we've seen so many community businesses, we've seen volunteer work at the schools, we've seen people starting small business. We haven't seen it. So all we're left with is reckless. And we're seeing kids on drugs. We're seeing guys struggling with alcohol abuse. So that's all we can assume, based on what we're seeing in Makas.
Yeah, but the negative things that we see at CAS, they are not only attributed to the receiving of grants.
No, of course.
Yeah, it's
of course.
Look, the lawlessness, generally the lawlessness.
Sure.
It gives birth to all these bad things.
Sure.
And now, if there's no laws, there's no structure,
sure, kuba
worse.
The second thing is, at some point I had a plan. I think I should have been in government, man. I don't know. I should have maybe gotten into politics and activism, but at the time it looked clumsy. Even now, the political system is not something that a progressive, ambitious, hardworking, innovative young person wants to gravitate towards.
No.
When you look at those 400 parliamentarians, you don't look at them and say, Donna, one day I want to sit there.
Except the
Because look at them.
Except the EFF parliamentarians. As a young man,
I hear you.
You'll say, I want to be like Uchuch. I want to be like Uchozi.
Floyd.
I want to be like Floyd.
I hear you.
Yeah.
No, you're very right. EFF really shook up parliament.
It really did.
You look at the Springboks. You look at the current Bafana now that beat Cape Verde and Verdi and Morocco. For some people, they're like, I want to be celebrated like that.
Everyone loves.
We don't do that with politics.
Yeah,
so I had these ideas back in the day where part of it was this incentivization program to say we will give you a grant on condition that you maintain or you plant fruit trees in your house.
Yes.
If you're not planting the fruit trees, we're not giving you the money until you show us that you've planted them. Along with the grant, we're going to give you chickens. If we give you 5 chickens, we want to see your eggs. Outside of your eggs, if you've grown your chickens to 10, we'll give you another 5 chickens. That talent's story. Then the incentivization program, it's something I do believe in. And I like the idea you're raising now, which it may seem counterintuitive, but you may be surprised to say, if you can show progress with the grant, we will give you more money.
Exactly.
We're not going to take it away.
Exactly.
And it's one of the things that has upset the middle class. We pay tax, we get abused a lot, but we can't access the services that our taxes pay.
Exactly.
I pay tax, I'm happy to pay tax, but you're telling me after pay tax, I must get medical aid. After paying tax, I can't send my child to the school because but you've got money. I'm getting double, triple tax.
You triple taxed.
Tell me that if I pay tax, I will get VIP treatment at the clinic.
Exactly.
I'm happy to pay tax.
Exactly.
I think I underpaid. I want to pay more.
Exactly.
So it seems counterintuitive, but to say, and I'm hearing you now, and I don't know if this is what Julius is thinking. It would be great, because for me, I don't like the idea of just because you have a qualification, you'll get paid.
Yeah.
But the idea that, look, if you further your studies, if you do community service, if you can show a project you've started, we'll give you more money.
Yes.
Because then Intwana's like, hey, Ubab Madondo apparently any grant is at 8,000.
Yeah, but
why? Oh, because he started a community stockfell. Because he's got a community garden.
Exactly.
Because so I want to be like him, because all I get is 350. So I want to bump it up to 6. How do I get here? No, Baba, you must attend church. Maybe as an example, attend church and volunteer at church. You must go volunteer at the soup kitchen. We haven't seen you in the garden. So unfortunately, we can't sign off for you to bump up your...
You haven't gone to a farm to go and train how to plant potatoes.
Sure.
You haven't done any of those things.
Sure.
And this is how you get these masses of unemployed youth to be active.
There's no incentive.
Look, one of the things that I don't understand, there's money in the government that can be used to use the youth to clean the township. Just one example.
Sure.
Just cleaning the township.
Yeah.
So that when the pick it up guys come, the township is ready in one spot with everything else. They pick it up and they go.
Yeah. And to that point, you can even start with those young people picking up dirt and putting it in one place. They can start separating.
Exactly.
Some of these things we can recycle. Some of this we can use in compost. Some of this.
And you need that money to be available. This is where you need benevolence. So now here's the biggest thing that is killing us. And I think I like China.
Sure.
The TikTok in China is not the TikTok that you get here.
I debate that, but please carry on.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, that is what they say.
And I don't know, I've never been to China.
I'll tell you my theory after you tell your story.
The theory, the thing that I like about that is that, look, we have to be intentional as the government and as the leader as to what our people are consuming.
Correct.
When people are consuming this life and we take people, I'm not going to call names, you take people and celebrities who are really contributing nothing and you give them these statuses. You pay them this crazy amount of money. You give them these things on as. You know, who's useless, who's not. I mean, COVID showed us that the useful people are teachers, nurses, police, doctors.
What were they called?
You know,
emergency service, critical.
What?
Was it critical service?
Yes.
Whatever they were called. Yeah.
What it showed us. I'm a celebrity.
They were struggling at home.
The people who get paid the most.
Yeah.
You know, so this thing must change. You know, we should pay people that we want to inspire our people. If we want people, we're running short of doctors.
Yeah.
Look, we're having this agreement in Cuba, and it's working for us.
Yeah.
You know, for the first time I heard that there's 280. It's a low number, but it's still a number.
Yeah.
280 unemployed doctors in the country.
Was it not 1,000? Yeah, at some point I saw 1,000.
No, it was 208.
280.
Yeah, and this guy, 408.
Sure.
This guy was making a comment with that guys, 480 doctors. And I'm like, 480 doctors must be employed.
Sure.
You know? So we need to have doctors oversupply. We need to have nurses oversupply. We need to have teachers.
Because currently we have a shortage, even of doctors. The reason they're not placed is not because we have an oversupply.
It's because we don't have money. You know,
Sure.
It's because we haven't built hospitals. It's because we haven't, you know, so we need all those things. So once we removed that culture, I hate the culture. All my kids wants to do this thing in entertainment. I hate that culture. Everyone wants to. I don't have anything against. Look, Joe, I used to love Equaito, and I used to manage a group in Equaito. I love those things, but I'm also an electrical engineer.
Sure.
So you must do the hard skills.
Sure.
As a country.
Sure.
Once you get the hard skills going, then you can graduate to the soft skills, allow the soft skills, pay the hard skills more, incentivize the hard skills more, because we need them.
I want to speak about Singapore. You know? So I want to dispute the China TikTok story.
Yes,
but at the same time, I also want to support it.
Yeah.
So there's a theory that's going around that Chinese TikTok algorithms are different from, let's say, ours in South Africa.
Yeah.
TikTok in China, when you swipe, all you're seeing is engineering, innovation, creating.
Yeah.
There's no palms twerking.
Yeah.
There's no jive. Things that aren't building an economy.
Yes.
It's things that are progressive.
Yes.
So the reason I dispute this theory is because I've curated my social media. My Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook doesn't show the things that other people see in South Africa. I see, if you go to my anyone goes to my Instagram follows, there's engineering, there's philosophy, if you go to my TikTok, look at the people I'm following. So when I'm swiping, there's motivation.
Yeah.
There's engineering, there's someone building something, there's an artist making an artwork. Yeah. That's mine, and I'm in South Africa.
Yeah.
So I realized that I think the algorithm is based on your interests.
Yes.
Was what I counted.
Yes.
With that being said, the reality is there are people in countries that have an agenda. In your home, so your children want to watch the same rubbish. You become China. You become Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party. You'll say, in my house, there's no porn, there's no cartoons. We watch National Geographic, History Channel, Bloomberg, CNBC. That's what we watch here. If you're going to watch a series as my child, you must come and prove. Baba, I want to watch Suits. Why? Because it's about a law firm. It's lawyers, they contest. I want to watch CSI. Why? It's forensic detectives. So sometimes they look at okay, I know. Yeah. You can watch this show. There's entertainment, but it's fine. Chiga Ma Chiga, it's people dancing. No. We're not dancers in this house. If you watch Chiga Ma Chiga, you're going to go dance at school and get better. If the answer is you can't sustain or substantiate, it's a no from me. So you become China in your home.
Yes.
Same thing could happen in a country like ours where you've got commissioning editors at the SABC, DSTV channels, Mzansi Magic, Mocha Love. They can come and say, we are currently looking for shows of young engineers. We are currently looking for farmers. We are currently, and we will incentivize again. Everyone who watches the Penwell show, we will give you free data.
Yes.
Everyone who will make sure there's a free channel or a free radio station or whatever, which is only focusing on Hispania and what. That's where now you can argue that if you look at, let's say when the ANC is campaigning, they bring in DJ Amapian. They're not bringing in kids. Today we've brought in a young kid who's built a big factory. We're campaigning at this factory or this big way. It's been built by.
Exactly.
We bring in Jiva.
Yeah.
That's what we bring. Everyone must dance and what. we've got a budget, open bar. You're like,
Exactly.
okay, you guys are actually incentivizing the wrong things. And I think after a while, the geography in that area
changes.
The algorithm changes where I'm in China. When I look at it happened to me when I was in Dubai. It happened to me when I was in Russia. When you look at the feed, because it starts showing local feed, it shows you what the people in the area are interested in.
Yes.
So if I'm in Johannesburg and I just go on a random phone, I've just downloaded this app, and you see if you are in Joburg, people are interested in, then I have to go out of my way to curate and be like, I don't want to watch this. But for the average person, that's where now, for people that are going to say TikTok in China is different, it might be that. It might
be that, yeah.
So that's important.
But I like that. I like that. It can be Gucci. You campaigning and you've got this serious issue as a country of people who are always intoxicated.
Yes.
And you campaign and you bring beer.
Yeah.
Guys, I know people don't want to accept this. We are a drunk country. Siaphuza.
Sure. To numb the pain?
No.
Maybe it's to numb the pain, to chabula. Celebrating things we don't have.
It's people drink. You know, one guy I was talking to, he says to me, Umahlang says to me, my daughter and I were doing, they do the running thing. So they were doing the table, serving the drinks. And then they were stopping the cars for the runners to run it. And then the daughter says, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Almost 5 or 6, 7 cars out of 10 that we stop. All those people are drunk. Is not drinking supposed to be done when we are celebrating? And then his dad says, yes, you drink when you celebrate. But what are these people celebrating at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
You know, and I said to Mahlang, we are addicts. We are addicted to alcohol, guys. Alcohol is the biggest problem we have. The Minister of Home Affairs, who used to be a Minister of Health,
Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi.
He really tried. He did not get a support. You know, at NASREC conference, one of the things when they did the sitting of approving of bills, they wanted to ban the advertisement of alcohol.
Sure. I remember Umama. I don't know if Ukoko today, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. She successfully, I think she was Minister of Health as well.
Yes.
She successfully banned cigarette advertising.
Exactly. But he failed with alcohol. Because honestly speaking, gents, let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have anything against but let's be honest. As a nation, we are not progressive. And our biggest problem is this drinking culture.
Alcohol. I've heard a lot of young people saying, Pen, please on your platforms, can you profile drug abuse? He's like, Inyaupe and other things are killing our cars. You may not see it, but the kids are always high. The kids
Pen,
are always high. But clearly, they're smoking something, they're taking something. They are trying to zone out from unemployment. Some of Amachita are not having sex. Some of Amachita, they live on porn. They always masturbating. They're scared to approach girls because their self-esteem is so low. And then what they do is they numb their pain with drugs. And sometimes, depending on the drugs you take, you also drink. And you might end up doing stupid things like crime.
You know?
You might end up doing stupid things like going to rape women. Exactly. Especially with this porn culture.
Exactly. You know, so I tell people that I hate drugs, all sorts of drugs. But the drug that I hate more than any other drug is alcohol. You see, a guy
sure.
But he's not going to kill me anymore. You know? But a guy who drinks alcohol, he thinks that he's a superstar. He'll go beat your wife at home. He'll go do this. You know, you are with your family, you are sober, you've put your seatbelt on, you are driving on your right lane.
You're doing the right thing.
You're doing the right thing. This fool comes from nowhere.
Sure.
And he runs you over. And you're dead.
And you did everything right.
And you did everything right. That's why I hate alcohol. Because, you see, if you want to kill yourself, Penwell, I'll try and rescue you the best that I can.
Sure.
But if I fail, don't involve me.
Sure.
Leave me
alone.
Kill
yourself somewhere else.
Go kill yourself somewhere.
Why am I involved now?
You know, why am I involved now? Alcohol involves me. That's why I hate alcohol.
You know, my brother and I have spoken about this. He drinks and he enjoys drinking. We've spoken about how alcohol is one of the worst drugs we have.
Yeah.
And he said it's weird that you'd ban cigarette. Yes, cigarettes are bad and lung cancer, but people don't smoke cigarettes and cause car accidents.
No.
You can't smoke a cigarette, even in a court of law.
Yeah.
You know, in a court of law, they'll say you not in the right state of mind when you sign the contract. You were drunk. They can prove you were under the influence. You can't smoke a cigarette and be like, no, this contract is null and void.
Yeah.
I've been smoking.
No, you can't. You can't.
One of the things I wanted to make a video about this. So I wanted to have a conversation, and it's maybe not for today because I think we need to shut this down. I wonder how much I was watching two amazing conversations. The one was they were both on a channel called Soft White Underbelly.
Yeah.
The one was James Sexton. He's a divorce lawyer in America.
Oh yeah.
Unpacking marriage, love, sex, etc. Amazing podcast. I think it's a podcast or interview. The other one is a recent one by a psychologist, beautiful lady called Sadia Khan. Same thing, marriage, love, sex, etc. She even speaks about porn, men with low self-esteem, how women exploit men, etc. And I found myself wondering, we speak about the drugs that are a scourge in the black community, but more especially in all poor communities.
Yes, generally.
We speak about alcohol, we speak about drugs, and I'm like, I wonder how much of our problems would be solved by sexual discipline.
A lot.
Sexual discipline. Look, I will not watch porn because porn fucks up the mind as well. I will not watch porn. I don't know about masturbation. People can debate that, but I will not go sleeping around. I'm going to be I'll sleep with my person. Because when you look at some of the most successful nations, one of the other things that makes me sad about the poorer people in society is, when you're going to write an exam, there's past papers and a memo. Physicem, Pythagoras. It's there. I'm like, Ntwana, you want to get an A in maths? Sure. Go read this thing. It's called memo. Just practice. There is a memo to life.
Is there?
You can see it in South Africa. Never mind the rest of the world. You've got Indian Muslims who have got disciplined homes. And all the things that black gents want. You've got want a submissive wife. You want to be a polygamist with 4 wives. Islam allows that. You want to have a business. The Indian Muslims are there. You can see it. You've got the Jewish community. Same. Successful in terms of business, their homes, their schools. You've got white the memo is there. Just copy. Just copy them. The Muslim woman, if we speak about a destroyed black nation, the Muslim woman generally will be a virgin until she gets married. She'll have sex with her husband for the rest of her life. The Muslim man will be a virgin till he gets married. His wife or his 2, 3, 4 maximum wives, that's all he'll have sex with until the day he dies. Sexual discipline. And then look at the spillover effects. Submission, community, their schools. The memo is there.
The memo is there.
But it looks like I'm not excluding myself. I'm part of the problem. In terms of, if you look at my history, lack of sexual discipline, or whatever you want to call it. But I wonder how much of our problems, you were like, just before the booze, because maybe some of the people drink the booze to get to the confidence for the girls. Maybe some of the drugs is because Ichero Inganyo also does drugs and she wants, come on, Madondo, you're so late, you're so lame. You don't smoke weed, come on, bro. And weed becomes a gateway to a harder thing. And you're like, if I have sexual discipline and I'm not trying to sleep with every woman, that means this thing that she's trying to sell off, don't you want to be with me? You're like, no, I don't.
No.
So whatever you're trying to get me to do, you want me to have a big car, if it's to get you, I don't want the big car for you. I want a big car because my family that I'm disciplined to needs the car. But don't you want to go, come on, I'm a You're like, but I don't want to sleep with them. So why must I speed at night, drunk, but I'm not trying to get this dog. And all the other decisions, I don't have to then make those dumb decisions because I'm not trying to sleep with someone.
Look, fortunately, I grew up in such organizations with such discipline, and one of the disciplines they really, really emphasized growing up in the Christian communities, your sexual discipline.
Sure.
And once you master that, a lot of things just fall into place.
Sure.
Because here's the thing: how you do one thing is how you do everything. Once you get disciplined, it's like habits. They're like a domino. They've got a domino effect. Once you master one habit of waking up in the morning, you're more likely to run. You're more likely to eat right. You're more likely to encourage others to follow. You're more likely to read. You've just done one good habit.
Just waking up
early.
Jordan Peterson speaks about just making your bed.
Just making up your bed. Just one habit gives bed. opposite again, when you do one bad habit,
domino effect again.
Domino effect. You cheat, you lie, you steal. It keeps going. It keeps growing. Everything is like a seed.
Sure.
Everything is like a seed. Choose the seeds you plant,
Yeah.
because the seed you plant is going to grow into a tree.
Sure.
And a tree is going to give you fruits with many seeds. And you can't control that tree. The only time you have control of anything is before you plant it or before you drink it.
Sure.
Once it's inside, it's over.
Yeah.
It's in charge.
Yeah.
Once it's in the ground, it's in charge. It now germinates, it grows. It's nice to have a baby dragon. Wait until it grows. It will not only consume the food you give, it will also consume you and your generation.
But Madondo, let's shut it down. I don't know if there's anything else you want to close off with.
No, man, thanks. And look, I just want to say, Pen, you're a star, man. You're a star. What you're doing, it's out of this world.
I don't know what I'm doing. What I'm doing maybe is creating a platform for people like you to come and educate. I don't know if you know.
Look,
or do you know? Do they send you my DMs?
No, they do send me my DMs.
Some of my favorite guests are you, including the guys I work with. They're like, hey, Madondo, hey, Madondo.
So thanks, man, and thanks for bringing me up on the surface. Look, I'm always one of those guys who try to, do my things. Sometimes doing your things and not really, you don't achieve much.
Sure.
But when somebody says, hey, there's a star that is shining there, everyone likes looking at the star.
Sure.
No, and thank you for making me shine.
Thank you. Is there anything you're planning this year where people can get involved? You're a construction entrepreneur. I don't know if there's anything else. People can hit you up.
Look, I'm still at the school, man. I'm still at the school, Sandringham High. Yeah, and they've got a new principal now. I must give shout to principal. I had a meeting with the principal. The principal is like, what I want is a benevolent dictator. I spent a morning at the reception just to watch.
Yeah.
I went there, I'm that kind of a guy.
Sure.
Just go in and I sat there and just watch all the happenings. Those who came late, what they are made to do, the teachers, everyone runs. Everyone is like making sure that the school is running.
Yeah.
For the first time, all the openings in the school fence are closed.
Okay.
For the first time, the vagrants who stayed at the school, they're chased out.
Yeah.
For the first time, the school grass is cut.
Yeah.
We are talking, it's February now.
Yeah.
Even when the school is dismissed, the child leaves the school when they go to the transport. They don't do this thing of wandering around the street and not knowing what they're doing. So pickups to the principal. So I need everyone, all the guys who used to go to Sandringham High. Yeah. We're trying to start this alumni thing for them beautiful. So that we can collect money and come and help the school. Yeah. To the government, if anyone who's in the government who's listening, there's this quintile thing that they use for the school.
Oh, the quintiles, 1 to 5.
1 to 5. Yeah. I think Sandringham is on 5 or 4.
Yeah.
So that means it gets less subsidy.
From government.
Because it's in an affluent suburb.
Correct.
It makes sense. But the tricky part is that it now serves, majority of kids are coming from Alex.
Sure.
So it needs to be moved from that quintile.
From quintile 5 to quintile maybe 1, 2.
1 or 2, so that it gets more subsidy and it also gets the kids to get the food to eat.
Sure.
Because it really comes from, those kids come from poor background.
Yeah.
So there's been that struggle between the SGB and the Department of Education. Sure. So if somebody can look at that thing and say, okay, we need to, and because now that we've got a very progressive and promising principal, if we fix that thing, because their problem has always been money.
Yeah.
It's either the money gets stolen or parents don't pay. For the first time it's February now. Yeah. We already had 2 parents meeting that was fully attended.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I don't know what that guy is doing, but whatever he's doing, I'm loving it and I'm giving a shout.
No, thank you. I know he's the premier of Gauteng now, but we hope that people like Panyaza Lesufi and whoever the MEC of education is now, I'm just not sure who it is, but I'll check. They can hear this cry. And I'm sure Sandringham High is not the only one. There are probably a lot of schools like this in the country. Ex-Model C. Yeah. Used to be a lot of well-off kids studying there, and now there's a lot of township or more rural kids there. Yes. And it still sits under the wrong quintile.
Yes.
And the issue is that it's not getting the right subsidy, and the kids are not getting the right assistance.
Exactly.
And we end up losing them.
Exactly.
Okay. But Madondo,
thank you. Sure.